Bruce Coffin, best-selling author of the Detective Byron series, began his working life in law enforcement. After almost 30 years as a homicide detective, Coffin remembered the career he dreamed of as a youth.
I knew at the age of 11 that I wanted to be a novelist. My folks had an argument about whether or not I was old enough to read Stephen King's newest book, which was coming out, called Salems Lot. And somehow my dad won that argument and I read it. My mother was afraid I was too young. And she was 100% right, because after I read it, it scared the hell out of me. And I realized what was an improbable vampire story, really a retelling of Dracula, but made modern day and set right near where I lived in Maine. And it made it more plausible because he wrote about places I knew. He wrote about people I felt like I saw every day in my travels. And suddenly the vampire idea was a probable thing. It made it even scarier. And I finished that book and I said, this is what I want to do. And it was that easy. I'd been a police officer for almost 30 years, and detective, homicide, all that stuff. And the bug came back one day. My wife bought me an iPad, and you're looking at a guy who typed everything on a typewriter, right? I had correction tape and whiteout, and for me, all of a sudden, I'm like, wow, this is like a portable typewriter. I can write sentences and just make stuff up, and characters just started to pour out, and I immediately, characters that would become my first book in the Detective Byron series started to pour out of me, and I have no idea where it came from, and I haven't stopped since.
Writing that first novel can be the hardest. For Bruce, it was no different.
I had no idea what I was doing, but I accomplished the hardest thing. You know, I equate this to people hiking the Appalachian Trail. You know, 2,000, 3,000 people a year try to do it, and most of them bail out after the fourth day. Writing is that way. You know, it's real easy to come up with a cool scene or an idea, but actually weaving that through an entire novel, a lot of people just give up before they ever get to that point. And so I set that one goal for myself. I wanted to be a writer in grade school. I wanted to be a writer in high school. I wanted to be a writer in college, and none of that worked out. And so here's my shot at going back and reliving that childhood dream and finishing a novel. And then when I finished it, I went, all right, that was really bad, but I finished it. Now I just have to learn how to write a good novel. And I think I've made enough mistakes that I've learned from those. And suddenly the second book, took me 5.5 months to get the first draft done. 5.5 months of sweatpants and coffee, sitting in the wingback with my iPad, because every book I've written has been on an iPad. I'm a Bluetooth keyboard guy now, but it was just iPad, you know, fingerprints all over the thing. And it was suddenly like I actually knew what I was doing. I'd done it wrong. In my second attempt, I actually accomplished what I wanted to do. My characters came to life. I knew why they were doing what they were doing. They were constantly, they're still in my head. I can talk to myself, it's okay, it's part of the job. My wife now, who's retired, looks at me like I'm crazy, but I said, I did this while you were still working. This is not new, so. But yeah, it was a whole different experience writing when I actually knew where I was going. And it's been fun ever since.
With 4 successful novels under his belt, what does he plan to do next?
I'm actually in the middle of transitioning. I have written a 4-book detective police procedural series called the Detective Byron Mysteries for HarperCollins. And I am currently engaged in writing the first of a 4-book series with Lindy Walker for Severn River Publishing. And there'll be a mystery element, but it's also action-adventure. There's history, there's treasure, there's bad guys around every tree. I'm having a blast writing it. I am having a blast.
Every author has their own method of writing. How does Bruce bring his stories to life?
You know, every book is different. I spend a lot of time, I think, formulating an idea in my head. If the idea takes seed and it starts to root out a little bit, if I wake up and I'm still thinking about this idea, I start fleshing it out before I ever write anything. Sometimes it'll initiate with me with an opening scene, and I might actually sit down and type out the opening scene to get it while it's fresh.
Writing a novel can be fun, but many writers suffer from writer's block. How does Bruce move forward when ideas stop flowing?
I go to the gym. So it's either, for me, it's the basement where the heavy bag and the weights are, or I go down to the street to Planet Fitness and hit the elliptical and kill myself. And what's amazing is when all the blood drains from your head and the sweat's running into your eyes, the best ideas happen. I don't know why they don't happen when I'm in front of the keyboard, but they happen when I'm doing something else. And so I've learned not to sit there and struggle through that. I just get up and go do something else. And, the best ideas come at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't stay in bed anymore. If it happens, I just get up and start writing. I don't fight it. And if you get into the habit of doing that, I think it's like working out. It's like a muscle. If you're doing it all the time, you can't stop the ideas from coming in. It's a little crazy, but it's how it works. And the best writing, I've heard people say this, but it is true. The best writing, when you finish that spell, you can't believe how many words you've written, how many pages you've done, and it is almost like it's not coming from you. It's like you're channeling it. You're trying to keep up with the ideas, and you don't know where they're coming from. And I tell people sometimes, I think there's more to it than what we do. Because I don't know if I'm bright enough to do some of the things I've done, but it's just a cool way of knowing that it's coming from someplace, and I'm putting it down forever.
BCPL met with Bruce Coffin and other writers at Creatures, Crimes, and Creativity Con in Columbia, Maryland.
It's not a fan-based conference. There are fans here. I mean, we're writers, so we're all reader fans, right? Aren't we? That's what we are first. But what I love about this is it's an opportunity to kind of let your guard down a little, to be you, to talk about the successes and the failures of your writing career, the struggles you have, the shared experiences. This is where the sausage gets made, right here, right? And my family doesn't want to hear how my books get written. My fans don't want to hear. They just want to know when the next one's out. So it's awesome to be able to kind of get together with like-minded people and to swap ideas and stories, and it really just fills the well again. So when I fly back home from this, I'm diving right in. So it's going to be great.
For more information about the convention, go to creaturescrimesandcreativity.com.